Here's another example of India's strategic autonomy, its relationship with Russia. It has remained solid despite pressure from the West and despite Moscow's growing proximity to China. But why are we talking about this tonight? Because India's External Affairs Minister is in Moscow. S. Jaishankar landed in Moscow yesterday. He began the trip on a nostalgic note, a visitor's pass from 1962. The minister shared it. There was a reception for Soviet cosmonauts at Moscow's Red Square, and Jaishankar attended the event as a 6-year-old in 1962. And now, more than 6 decades later, he's back in Moscow as India's foreign minister and on a more important mission. Jaishankar is filling in for the Indian Prime Minister. Prime Minister Modi was supposed to visit Russia for his annual summit with the Russian President, Vladimir Putin. He couldn't go, so he sent S. Jaishankar, who started the visit on the perfect note. Here's what he said.
If there is one constant actually in world politics, it has actually been the relationship with India-Russia.
The only constant in world politics. The choice of words is telling. India and Russia share a long history, and despite recent geopolitical pressures, India's commitment to Russia has not wavered. However, there is a need for recalibration. Progress on key diplomatic initiatives remains stalled, and Minister S. Jaishankar is trying to revive that. Today, he met Sergey Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, and he was quick to spell out India's priorities. The first one is trade. Trade remains lopsided in Russia's favor, mainly because India buys Russian oil, and a lot of it. New Delhi wants to strike a balance, and Moscow is game. They plan to sign a trade deal.
We have agreed that the negotiations between India and the Eurasian Economic Union for a free trade agreement will be resumed in the second half of January this year.
A free trade pact. This includes 5 countries: Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. Now, India and Russia will resume talks next month. There's a lot to address on that front. One of the key concerns is currency. 8 months ago, there was a setback. India and Russia wanted to trade in their native currencies, the rupee and the ruble. India paid for Russian weapons in rupees, but the effort has been stalled because Russia has a lot of Indian rupees and doesn't know what to do with them. We're talking about significant assets in rupees worth billions. Russia doesn't know how to use them. The money cannot be converted because Russia faces international sanctions. Its banking systems are cut off from the world. Plus, they have limited investment options in India and they don't buy very much from India. So they cannot use the rupees to pay for imports. Hence the large stockpile. And it's not like they did not look for solutions. Both sides were in talks. But in May this year, the conversation seems to have hit a dead end. Now, when the trade negotiations begin, they can revisit the currency issue because many more big-ticket deals are in the works, including deals in Russian weapons. And that's the second priority. Lavrov made a statement today. He said India and Russia want to make more weapons together.
We respect and we have spoken about this, the desire of our Indian colleagues to diversify ties in the area of military technical cooperation. We also understand and are ready to support their initiative to produce military products within the framework of the Make in India program.
What kind of weapons? Military aircraft. Russia isn't revealing what kind, but it won't be the first project of this nature. India's BrahMos missile was made in collaboration with Russia. Russia has also partnered with India for the Sukhoi fighter jets, tanks, armored vehicles and shells. And this year, India and Russia began the joint production of Kalashnikov rifles. Again, these projects were delayed due to the war in Ukraine and also because of Western sanctions. But that has not hampered future engagements and new proposals. And it seems that India is still willing to be patient, even when it comes to nuclear cooperation. India and Russia have signed new agreements. This is about the Kudankulam nuclear power plant, India's largest nuclear power station. India wants to build more power units there, and Russia seems ready to help. So defense and energy are the backbone of this relationship. If the trade deal materializes, it will only deepen mutual dependence. Although India has scaled back the purchase of Russian oil, in October it fell to an 8-month low. That's because discounts from Russia fell. So India started buying less. But the larger picture remains unchanged. Later today, Jaishankar is expected to meet the Russian president as well. And today's developments only underscore Russia's importance for India. Moscow remains a time-tested friend for New Delhi.